Hey everybody, Hoang here, and today we're going to go over the best decks for the BT6 format in each respective color, in my opinion, and these lists are very bare minimum skeletons. They're not meant to be used as the general guide, but rather they're just to give you an idea of what to expect in the upcoming format. I will do more in-depth breakdowns, more detailed lists, etc. in their own respective deck list videos, but for right now, I just want to give you my idea of what are going to be the strongest decks in each respective color, and of course, we'll also do a tier list to kick it off. But without further ado, the strongest red deck, in my opinion, is Jessamon. Jessamon is essentially red Lord Nightmon. It has the ability to call on swing. It has really strong board expansion, but it has the red element, so it comes with a lot of pressure via security attack plus. It also has a lot of access to red's control options such as Atomic Blaster or Gaia Force, etc. A lot of really great cards. Now, there are a lot of other red decks that are in contention for arguably best red deck in the format, such as Agumon Bond of Courage. That's another very powerful deck. But in my opinion, Jessamon takes the cake here. Not only am I biased towards Jessamon personally, right? If you couldn't tell with all the Jessamon imagery and whatnot, but I just think in general, the ceiling this deck provides is absolutely insane. Take note, Jessamon is a bit more bricky than your average deck. The reason why this is because you have to fit in these white Digimon, right? You have to fit in the Sistermons, and because of that, it takes away slots that you would normally have going to these Digimon. And so as a result, it can be a bit more bricky than usual. But on average, because of how much searching is built into it, like Hackmon is check top 5, add Sistermon, Hackmons, Jessamons, etc. It's really strong. You're very likely to, like, 8 out of 10, I would say, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And then if you brick, you have to understand, you have to know how to get out of that situation, how to unbrick yourself. So that's really just a lot of practice necessary. I think there is a ton of different tech options you can do for this deck, mostly because Jessamon itself is super flexible, right? This egg choice, this is the generic egg choice you're going to see. If you want my actual egg choice, I definitely would suggest you guys watch out for my Jessamon deck profile video, because then you'll see what I would actually run. But this is like what you're normally going to see. Everyone's just going to run Baby Domon because they see piercing, and they're like, oh, plus 2k piercing. But it's a whole shebang. There's a whole lot of things. But coming up next, the best blue deck in the format, without a doubt, is Bond of Friendship. Bond of Friendship is absolutely nuts. There's a ton of different variants to Bond of Friendship, but there's also quite a few runner-ups, like a Zulongbon and a Source Strip. That's also a really fantastic deck. But Bond of Friendship is time and time again proven itself to be the strongest blue deck in contention for best deck in the format. Really strong deck. You can play a Rookie Rush style, or you can play it in a more Ancient Garurumon combo style. There's a lot of different ways you can play the Bond of Friendship package. And again, like I said, very bare skeleton. You'll see more specialized text in an upcoming video, but for now, I just want to point out, you notice a lot of Gabumons, and that's because you want to Warp Digivolve via the mat. While you may burn yourself for the 2, you just want to force as much tempo as possible. You want to OTK if you can, and that's where the mat comes in. You just force yourself into that Gabumon. I think you guys noticed the Octomon. Octomon's a pretty interesting choice. It's a 7k, which means it breaks over most mirror matches. It only loses to Gabumon, really great stuff. And you may notice Rattlestar, fantastic removal, very strong into Jessamon. Just overall, a very powerful deck. The pros and cons between Rookie Rush Gabumon and Ancient Garurumon Gabumon is obviously how easy it is to just force lethal out of nowhere, right? The Ancient Garurumon package that's 4 damage right there, then and then. You can also you're not forced to just play a Rookie Rush style. You can pivot a lot of different ways. This Rookie Rush style is a lot more linear. It doesn't have as many lines of play, but it's a lot more consistent because it is Rookie Rush at the end of the day. So there are pros and cons to both styles. It's very great. Up next, we have one of the best purple decks. Okay, I was kind of tied on this one. It was either Titamon or it was either Lilithmon for best purple deck. I don't consider Musketeer a purple deck despite being majority purple. I consider Musketeer more so a miscellaneous category because of its playstyle being so drastically different. But at the end of the day, I'm personally more biased towards Titamon. Okay, quick little lesson is in BT6, the game has become a lot more aggressive. It's a lot faster. And I know this may be a really weird change for some people, right? I understand. But in order to respond to this aggression, decks like Titamon, which has their own counter pressure, is very, very, very strong. Not to say the Lilithmon deck isn't strong. The Lilithmon deck is very, very strong because of how many bodies you can vomit out, especially with this Ginkaku stuff going on. But Titamon is able to OTK, it's able to flood board, it has a lot of pressure. This Titamon is the most consistent purple deck. Just straight up is the most consistent purple deck. It is one of the few purple decks, if not the only purple deck, that doesn't rely on seeing specific pieces. So let's say you go to the Titamon. Oh no, I don't have my Ginkaku, or I don't have my promote, or whatever. Cool, I'll just revive anything else, right? And so you can say, oh, what about Mastemon? Well, Mastemon was never her own individual deck, because Mastemon by herself, outside of the on Digivolve, wasn't doing, a lot. Titamon, on the other hand, he has that security attack pressure to deal that damage. So overall, this deck is just a lot more aggressive, a lot more consistent. It feels really, really good. Next, we have Black. Black is actually good. Hooray! Black is arguably tier 1. Some will argue tier 2. Either way, Black is definitely not something you want to sleep on going forward into the format. So, you may ask, how does this work? Well, first off, it's Black Royal Knights. So you got your Craniumon, your Gankumon, and your Alphamon. And Black Royal Knights is really, really cool, because not only does Alphamon have a fantastic matchup in the Jesmon, because you can just sometimes, if they hit it in security, then you just neg their entire board, but also Alphamon is swing, gain that DP, gain that memory, and then you can go into a 7. Oh, wait, my bad. Lamau, that's not supposed to be there. I just realized Valderarm's in there. No wonder I didn't have a lot of space. Okay, one sec. Iron Fist. Okay, now we're good. I was making the green list on the same page, so it just lingered from there, but now it's good. Now we're good. Okay, so you do see that we play the Black Royal Knights, and the most broken black level 3 in my opinion is a 4 of. It's not Sonorizumon, it's Chikurimon. Chikurimon is absolutely fantastic. I'll talk more in depth about it later. But Chikurimon, what it brings to the table is the ability to de-digivolve your opponent's Digimon on if they they hit it in security. So if Gabubon hits your security and they step on a damn Chikurimon, well, there goes Gabubon, right? And wow, you're big chilling, because now they can't do shit, right? And then you may notice there's a lot of security Digimon. Chikurimon, Nanimon, and Zwart. That's quite a bit. And then your security's pretty loaded. You have Iron Fist, Memory Boost, right? You're really content with all of these. I just realized I forgot to put Memory Tamer in. Okay, one sec, Yang. Okay, hold up. Guys, listen, I got thrown off because I had a... whatchamacallit? I did all of this with the green list right before, but there you go. Okay, now we put the Black Tamer in, because Black Tamer, very, very important. But anyway, all right, so yeah, Black Royal Knights is really good. It has a lot of control options, a lot of defensive options. It can be surprisingly aggressive, right? Sonorizumon gives Alphamon a +1 security attack, or maybe you want to give Gankumon to do 3 damage if you're able to get his freaking DP up. Do we have any? No. I mean, Kapurimon? No. Okay, not Gankumon, but still, Gankumon can still do 2 security attack on his own. So, either way. And if you do want to give Gankumon that security attack, there are ways you can just force it. So, for example, Gogmamon. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Very defensive. It can be defensive. It has a lot of control. Great deck. Coming up next. Green is really disappointing. Green is very, very disappointing. Green got cucked by Eosmon, because Eosmon took up Green's SR slot. So Green got stuck playing Ancient Troyamon? I don't know. Overall, it's not very impressive. It's a control deck that... yeah, it's just a control deck. I don't know. The strength of this deck is that Ancient Troyamon kind of dicks on Gabubon, assuming that it's in a standing position, otherwise Gabubon just swings over it. And why is that? Is because Gabubon swings, and then Troyamon can immediately... it can tap the Gabubon after it untaps itself. So you stop the 3-attack combo right there. It's really, really good. And Nidhogg, obviously, absolute blowout card. You may notice you don't play a lot of new cards in the new green build. We got Arbomon. Arbomon is absolutely insane. Do you know how many times you green OTK, deal all that security, and then you want that to Digivolve over that Mimi and go for game, right? Well, now we have the hybrid. And you notice we played the Terriermon. Memory boosters are going to be a huge factor in going into the BT6 format. So memory blockers have a lot of value. Definitely keep your eyes out on that. So overall, green is a lot slower. HPD isn't even as good. This HPD can be whatever. The reason why HPD isn't as good is because you leave your board prone to getting wiped by something, right? Like Jesmon's Judgment Blade, Gabubon Bounce, etc., right? There's a lot of really scary things out there. So definitely got to be aware of that. Next, we have yellow. This yellow list is very interesting. It was given to me, or inspired rather, by Blue Nilemon. I took the majority of the core and like tweaked it like very little. But the idea here is that we're using the Kudamon promo with Kentorosmon. I think this deck has a lot of potential. Yellow kind of takes a nosedive in BT6, right? We have Lord Nightmon. We saw Lord Nightmon was a super dominant deck in BT5, and then going into BT6, the playing field was super evened out, super duper evened out, right? And so, as a response, we have to come up with a new yellow deck that takes, becomes the best new yellow deck. And I think this Kentorosmon, Dynasmon, War Greymon combo is actually really solid. Dynasmon is this cool tower Digimon that it sits there, it constantly heals you, it mills, and it mills your Kentorosmon. So then we can play Kudamon and get that heal 1. Really nice. War Greymon, I think, is a super slept on card. I think it has a lot of potential because you can swing into Jesmon -6 it. You swing twice, and they probably only have one Sistermon because they probably went Blanc Noir. They probably didn't go double Blanc. If they didn't go double Blanc, then War Greymon can kill that Jesmon. Really great stuff. You also have Mistymon. Mistymon plus War Greymon is -8,000. And it is overall, you can see a lot of synergy going on here. It's really good stuff in my opinion. I have to test this out because Kudamon didn't exist in the Japanese format. So that's entirely new territory for this English format. So definitely we want to be on our toes because I think this Kudamon stuff has a lot of potential. Oh, that reminds me. You may notice in the Gabumon deck, we run the Gabumon promo. It doesn't break the deck or anything, right? It doesn't do that. But instead, it does accelerate you to your win con to some degree because it does search that map. So now take that as you will. Into the Miscellaneous territory. Miscellaneous are decks that don't fit into a specific color archetype, but I felt like were worth mentioning. We do see Security Control. Security Control is absolutely huge in the BT6 format. It got a ton of different tools. Reinforced Memory Boost, Iron Fist, Happy Bullet Shower, Geschwaltzer, all these Wyvern's Breath, right? Absolutely crazy cards, not to mention Cordramon and GeoGreymon. Fantastic cards. Security Control is absolutely annoying. If you thought it was bad enough in the previous formats, man, is it bad now. How do you beat Security Control? Well, I mean, I'll talk about it in a video later. But the real secret, because you can't just go wide anymore, because now they have all this like wide board clear, is you have to really, there's specific cards that you can check, especially when the EX collection comes out. But for example, Jesmon with Delicate Plan absolutely smashes this deck. There's just nothing they can do. And there's stuff like that you can pull out. In general, some really good stuff. But Security Control, definitely very powerful. It has a really great Gabubon matchup as well, because, as if Gabubon blows up, then that's it. That's GG, right? Gabubon is dead. And then they take all that burn damage from the mat, and yeah. So, overall, Security Control, a very strong deck. But, time and time again, we have thought to ourselves, man, Security Control is going to be absolutely bonkers. And what happens? Well, somehow, North America finds a way to just crack it. We just crack the matchup somehow, right? Whether it was the Mostemon tech, Black Metal Garurumon tech, North America's crazy. North America is absolutely bonkers. So I won't be surprised if we find another way to defeat this menace. And last but not least, in the Miscellaneous category is Three Musketeer. Three Musketeer is majority of purple, as we mentioned before. This deck kind of functions like a Security Control deck, right? Where you're just playing all those options, but in this case, you're trying to play options for a low cost at the end of the game through the power of Bellstarmon, right? So we're trying to build up that trash to get to the Bellstarmon win con, drop Bellstarmon, and then bam, there goes the board. Bam, there goes the board. And you just pop off like that. This deck is very powerful. Don't sleep on this, right? Bellstarmon's greatest weakness is its struggle to deal with level 7s. How do you deal with level 7s in the deck? You millie it, I guess? Or you crash Zwart. maybe they don't play around Trump Sword. It's really hard. It's very, very hard to play Bellstar into decks like Rush 7. But overall, this deck is very powerful. The amount of removal it packs is really crazy. This and Security Control are kind of like, they function kind of the same way, but not really the same way, if that makes sense. And like I said before, this is just the list that I wanted to bring to light initially. There are a ton of different decks that are super powerful in the BT6 format. Rookie Rush, for example, it got amazing buffs. Rookie Rush is absolutely cracked in the BT6 format. For example, let's see, where is it? 8-mon. 8-mon is an 8k DP, 2 cost. That's huge. This thing swings over most shit, right? 8-mon is cracked. Not only did we get 8-mon, but we also got Acid Injection, Burn of Security, minus 5,000 DP from a Digimon. Very, very, very powerful. That's really great. All right, what other decks are worth mentioning, right? We talked about Bond of Courage. We talked about a Zulongmon. Yellow, you can always play Lord Nightmon. I wouldn't suggest Mostumon, but you can play Lord Nightmon. Green, if you really want to play Aosmon, you shouldn't play Aosmon, but if you really want to, because you like to role play. Black, okay. Pile Volcamon is cracked, guys. Research this card. I promise you, you will get such good results, and you will be very surprised. Like we said in purple, you can get that Lilith loop going on. And yeah, just overall, absolutely amazing set. The game is going to be very different from what we previously know. It's going to be a lot more it's a lot faster, a lot more aggressive. And so this is where that skill really comes to shine, because knowing how to deal that aggression and simultaneously you have to be able to handle that aggression is really key to be a good player in the ongoing format. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Very quick shout out to the sponsors, PPG, and also a great friend and absolutely phenomenal site, Orange with card.dev. Fantastic. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helped you get some idea of what's to come. So thanks.